Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. The NFL is loaded with elite talent, but not every player deserves the hype they get. Some guys are treated like superstars, but when you break down the stats, their performance just doesn't match up. Today, we're looking at 3 of the most overrated players in the NFL right now. And this one's going to get people talking. Buckle up, because we're diving deep into the numbers and calling out some big names who just aren't living up to the hype. Get ready to hear some cold, hard truths about these so-called superstars. First up, we gotta talk about Alvin Kamara. This guy has been a household name in the NFL for a while now, and for good reason. He's been a key player for the New Orleans Saints, and his versatility on the field has made him a fan favorite. But lately, there's been a lot of chatter about whether he's really living up to the hype, especially given his hefty paycheck. Now don't get me wrong, the dude's got talent. He's got the kind of agility and speed that can leave defenders in the dust. When he's on his game, he's a force to be reckoned with. But talent alone doesn't always justify the kind of money he's making. He's shifty, he can catch, and he's been a fantasy football darling for years. Fantasy owners have loved him for his ability to rack up points, both on the ground and through the air. His dual-threat capability has made him a valuable asset in the fantasy world. But real-life football is a different story. But let's be real, folks, the Saints are paying him $15 million a year for what? For a guy who, despite his skills, hasn't been able to consistently deliver the kind of performance that justifies that salary. It's a lot of money for a player who seems to be on the decline. To average a measly 3.9 yards per carry, that's not the kind of production you expect from one of the highest-paid running backs in the league. It's a stat that raises a lot of questions about his current value to the team. That's the lowest of his career, by the way. It's a significant drop from his earlier years when he was averaging well over 4 yards per carry. This decline in performance is hard to ignore, especially when you're talking about a player who's supposed to be in his prime. And don't even get me started on the touchdowns. Touchdowns are a crucial part of a running back's job, and Kamara's numbers in that department have been disappointing to say the least. Since 2020, those numbers have been drier than a popcorn fart in the Sahara Desert. It's a colorful way to put it, but it drives home the point. His touchdown production has been lackluster, and that's a big problem for a player who's supposed to be a game changer. Look, I get it, he's a threat in the passing game, but is that really worth top dollar in today's NFL? The league has evolved, and while having a versatile running back is valuable, it doesn't necessarily mean you should break the bank for one. There are dudes out there, younger dudes, hungrier dudes, putting up better numbers for a fraction of the price. The NFL is full of young talent, and many of these players are outperforming veterans like Kamara without commanding such high salaries. We gotta call it like we see it. Kamara's days as a top 5 running back are over. It's a tough pill to swallow for Saints fans, but the numbers don't lie. His best years seem to be behind him. He's still good, but he ain't elite, and he sure as hell ain't worth the money they're throwing at him. The Saints need to reevaluate their investment and consider whether they're getting the best bang for their buck. It's time for a reality check. Alright, next up, we're coming in hot with Josh Allen. The Buffalo Bills quarterback has been a polarizing figure in the NFL since he was drafted in 2018. Some fans see him as the future of the franchise, a player with the potential to lead the team to multiple Super Bowls. Others, however, are not so convinced. They point to his inconsistency and turnover issues as major red flags. So let's dive into the enigma that is Josh Allen. Now this one might ruffle some feathers, but hear me out. The debate around Allen is as heated as it gets. On one side, you have the die-hard fans who believe he's the second coming of Jim Kelly. On the other, you have skeptics who think he's more likely to be the next J.P. Lossman. The truth, as always, probably lies somewhere in between. The dude's got a cannon for an arm, I'll give him that. His ability to launch the football downfield is almost unparalleled. When he's on, he's on. He can make throws that leave you shaking your head in disbelief. But, and this is a big but, that same arm strength can be a double-edged sword. He can make some absolutely ridiculous throws. We're talking about threading the needle between 2 defenders, launching a 60-yard bomb on the run, and making plays that most quarterbacks wouldn't even attempt. These highlight reel moments are what make him so exciting to watch. But they also come with a downside. But there's a problem, a big, glaring, turnover-shaped problem. For every jaw-dropping throw, there's a head-scratching mistake. Allen's aggressive style of play often leads to turnovers, and in the NFL, turnovers are the kiss of death. You can't win games if you're constantly giving the ball away. Since 2021, Allen has more turnovers than a bakery on a Sunday morning. It's not just interceptions either. Fumbles have been a significant issue as well. When you combine the two, it paints a troubling picture for a quarterback who's supposed to be the face of the franchise. We're talking a league-leading 66 turnovers, folks. That's an astronomical number for any player, let alone a quarterback who's expected to lead his team to victory. It's not just a fluke or a bad stretch, it's a pattern that needs to be addressed. That's not just bad luck, that's a pattern of poor decision-making. Whether it's forcing a throw into double coverage or failing to secure the ball under pressure, these are mistakes that can and should be corrected. The question is, will Allen make the necessary adjustments? And let's not forget about the playoffs where it really matters. Regular season stats are great, but it's the postseason where legends are made. Unfortunately, Allen's playoff performances have been a mixed bag. He's had some standout games, but he's also had moments where he looked completely out of his depth. His playoff record is a perfectly mediocre 5-5. For a quarterback of his caliber, that's simply not good enough. The great ones elevate their game when the stakes are highest. So far, Allen has yet to prove he can do that consistently, and every time he's gone up against Mahomes, he's gotten smoked like a cheap cigar. The comparisons between the two are inevitable, but right now it's not even close. Mahomes has the rings, the MVPs, and the clutch performances. Allen, on the other hand, is still searching for his signature moment. You want to talk about overrated? The hype around Allen has been enormous, and while he's shown flashes of brilliance, he hasn't lived up to the lofty expectations. Critics argue that he's been more style than substance, more potential than production. This dude's making $43 million a year, the second highest paid QB in the league, and he can't even get it done when the pressure's on. That's a lot of money for a player who has yet to prove he can win the big games. The Bills have invested heavily in Allen, and now it's time for him to deliver. Look, I'm not saying Allen can't turn it around, but until he learns to protect the damn football and win some big games, he's all hype and no substance. The potential is there, no doubt about it. But potential doesn't win championships, execution does. And until Allen can execute when it matters most, the jury will remain out on whether he's a turnover machine or a true franchise QB. Number 3, Lamar Jackson, $52 million for a running back. Last but not least, we gotta talk about Lamar Jackson. The man is a human highlight reel, no doubt about it. Every time he steps on the field, you can feel the electricity in the air. Fans hold their breath, waiting for that one jaw-dropping play that only Lamar can deliver. Now Lamar is electric, there's no denying that. His speed and agility are off the charts. He can turn a broken play into a 50-yard gain in the blink of an eye. Defenders are left grasping at air, wondering what just happened. It's like watching a magician at work. He can make defenders look silly with his legs, and he's got a rocket for an arm. When he's on, he's on. He can thread the needle with a pass that leaves you shaking your head in disbelief. But here's the thing, consistency is key in the NFL, and that's where Lamar falls short. But here's the thing, when it comes to winning the big one, Lamar's got a worse track record than a used car salesman. Sure, he can dazzle in the regular season, but when the lights are brightest, he seems to shrink. It's a harsh reality, but one that can't be ignored. His playoff record is a dismal 2-4, and he's never even sniffed a Super Bowl. For a player of his caliber, that's a glaring red flag. The playoffs are where legends are made, and so far Lamar has been more of a footnote. And in those 6 playoff games, he's thrown more interceptions, 6, than touchdowns, 4. That's not just a bad stat, it's a damning indictment of his ability to perform under pressure. When the stakes are high, you need your quarterback to elevate his game, not crumble. Let me repeat that. More interceptions than touchdowns in the playoffs. It's a statistic that should make any Ravens fan uneasy. Turnovers are the quickest way to lose a game, and in the playoffs, every mistake is magnified. Lamar's tendency to throw picks in crucial moments is a major concern. For a guy who's making $52 million a year, that's just unacceptable. When you're the highest paid player on the team, the expectations are sky high. You're not just paid to make the playoffs, you're paid to win championships, and so far, Lamar hasn't delivered. Look, I get it, he's a dynamic playmaker, but at the end of the day, you need your quarterback to be a passer first and a runner second. The NFL is a passing league, and while Lamar's legs are a weapon, they can't be the primary focus. Defenses have figured out that if you can keep him in the pocket, you can neutralize his impact. And when teams force Lamar to stay in the pocket and make throws, he looks lost like a tourist in Times Square. It's almost painful to watch. The accuracy issues, the hesitation, the poor decision-making, it all comes to the forefront. Until he can prove he can beat teams with his arm, the criticism will continue. Until he develops into a more consistent passer and proves he can win when it matters most, he's the most overrated quarterback in the league. It's a tough pill to swallow, but the numbers don't lie. Lamar Jackson has all the talent in the world, but talent alone doesn't win championships. It's time for him to step up and show that he's worth every penny of that $52 million. Look, I'm just calling it like I see it. These three dudes might be popular, they might have all the hype, but when you look at the numbers, they just ain't living up to the billing. But hey, that's just my take. Do you agree? Or do you think these guys still deserve their hype? Drop a comment below and let's debate. Who do you think is the most overrated player in the NFL right now? And if you love NFL takes like this, hit that like button and subscribe for more weekly content. We're serving up hot takes and spicy debates every week, so make sure you're subscribed and ready to rumble.